Mateys, AG Legend, coming back at you as we continue our walk through the AVP, Alien and Predator franchise. For now, we have come to the godforsaken trilogy of the Alien films, with Alien 3, directed by David Fincher. Alien 3 is notorious for having probably one of the worst productions in the history of Hollywood. A lot of script rewrites, a lot of directorial changes, a lot of on-set turmoil, and a lot of studio interference. And when you watch this film, it clearly shows that they had an idea, but because of all the nonsense going around, the idea was not fully fleshed out. So, what I'm going to do is give you positives, gives you negatives, and an overall final thought. First, positives. David Fincher is a David Fincher. This is David Fincher's first. This was David Fincher's first directorial movie that he did, and in terms of his visual style, it's fine. Like directing is solid. I like David Fincher as a director. Watch The Game, watch Seven, watch Gone Girl. David Fincher is an amazing visual director, and Alien 3 kind of like shows exactly what he's capable of. Well, what he's capable of doing, and when what he's capable of doing. Of course, the movies I mentioned shows you what the man's capable of doing when you don't when you give him the reins. He's gonna give you a good movie. He's gonna give you a solid movie. Of course, Alien 3, that didn't happen. But in terms of the directing visual style, it's fine. Uh, Point two, the cast. For the most part, I like some of the cast members. A lot of the cast members are very like forgettable, and they're all bald men. Half of them they're all British bald men, with the exception of like maybe two standouts to me, which are Charles S. Dutton, who plays Dylan, who's like this preacher guy who pretty much has like a group of people that he has converted to Christianity or something like that. Very religious. And then you have Charles Dance, his character, who plays Clemens, who is the medical officer. And those two characters to me stood out among the rest. Everyone else is pretty much just there. They don't really have like much personality to me, with the exception of those two, because at least Clemens has like some story to him. Dylan has some story to him, and then you got the warden, played by Brian Glover. He's okay, and Ralph Brown plays this guy called 85. They call him 85 because of his IQ, and he's more like a to me he's like a comic relief character in a way. But he's there, like amongst like those are the four that probably stand out the most. But Dutton and Dance definitely tower over those two. And three. The overall production design is quite good. Actually, it's very detailed. This takes place mostly on a prison planet called Fury 161, and it's got a very industrial feel to it. It's very closed off. Like you don't really leave the prison itself. Like you don't like. There's like the opening scene. Like you're on the beach, but you don't ever get that ever again. So it's like they didn't like in my like the overall interior design is good. The prison's fine, but in terms of like going outside more, or getting a broader scope of what world you're in, they didn't really flesh that out much. But it doesn't really take away from my opinion of the set design, because the set design does look really does look good, and has a lot of good detail went into it. Uh, yeah, that's it. Those are the positives. The negatives, the story. I don't know what this movie's about. I really don't know what it's about. The story here is like hard to explain because it's not really fully fleshed. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a story there, but it's never expanded upon. And that goes back to the production troubles that this movie had, and the bazillion rewrites it went through, and it clearly shows. Another thing, again, going back to the cast, a lot of the cast members don't stand out. I mean, like The acting overall is fine. Every like the act, even like the actors do their best job. But again, you can put on a good performance all day long, but if your character has no personality or no substance, it's gonna fall flat. And a lot of these characters, with the exception of a few, fall flat. Another negative point. Um, the overall like look of the alien itself is kind of hit and miss. There are some scenes where it looks pretty good, and there are other scenes where it's like, ugh, that's it's ugly to look at. So it's like it's very up and down because they're using a mix of practical effects and CGI effects, and it's like this was the early days, so it's like kind of like a force mesh, force. It's kind of like a hard to look at in some scenes. Like that looks really fake, and then there's other scenes like oh, it looks solid enough. Another negative aspect of this movie I don't like. Actually, that's all the positives and negatives that I got. Like I said, Alien 3 doesn't really do it for me. I don't really care for it that much, but but this does have the definitive ending, where throughout the course of the movie, you find out that Ripley is impregnated by the Queen Alien. Note, they do not explain how, or they don't explain, or if they do, they give you a half-ass explanation as to how she's impregnated. They don't really. It's very confusing how because there's like an egg on the so like there's like an egg on the ship, and but they don't explain how it got there. It's a big fucking mess. Anyway, you find out she's impregnated. So at the end of the movie, Ripley makes the ultimate sacrifice, and she kills herself in the most poignant and most badass way possible. Pretty much, the company comes to the prison. They try to con Ripley, saying, "We're going to save you." Ripley's like, "No, you're not. You just want this shit." And Ripley's pretty much like, "I'd rather kill myself than to see others suffer because you guys don't want to have you got your heads so far up your asses." So pretty much, Ripley becomes a Christ-like figure and just like falls into a vat of boiling, falls into the like a furnace, and like I watched a special edition. So when she went down, she was pretty much in that Christ pose when she was going down. But anyway, like that ending I like because like it reinforces the fact that Ripley's badass, but Ripley cares about humanity. And it goes to show that corporations could care less about humanity. They just care about themselves and what they can do with certain things that are beyond their control. And it goes to show that you're not, you know, a corporation that are just heartless people. A corporation is heartless, and they would sacrifice the lives of millions just so that they can improve their bottom line. And it goes to show that someone like Ripley is willing to sacrifice herself in order to secure humanity in a way. So in that aspect, the ending of the movie worked as like this as seeing Ripley for where she was in the first movie, in the second movie, and to this movie, and it ties it up in a okay way, I'll say. Oh, I forgot another negative thing that got on my nerves. They kill off Newt and they kill off Hicks, two important characters of the last movie, or just and Bishop. Three important characters from the last movie are completely obliterated, wiped out as if they didn't matter. They die in when the spaceship crashes on the planet. They die. It's like what a cop out. Because you could have done so much with those, but instead you went this route. Just thought I throw it in there as a side note. Anyway, yeah, that's Alien 3. I don't like it. I give it a 4 out of 10. My 4 out of 10 goes exclusively to the ending and to the selected performances and David Fincher. The rest of the movie, skip it. You need to watch it. Anyway, I am AJ Legend. Like, comment, subscribe. See you again next time.